initially we started off as everybody does in colleges with a group, and I think after one, maybe half, or maybe the first hour of that first group trip, we knew
First
that,
group
that
trip
that's
we
not
knew
happening.
group trip is not for us.
And with that, I think came home our first
That was
motorcycle
our
together.
first motorcycle. There was
The
a-
Himalayan 411.
But he conveniently forgot that was my wedding gift to him. Conveniently forgot to
One
mention
second. That's what she says. She
Okay.
paid the first TMI. That's
that.
it.
And then came in the first taste of motorcycling for us, where we realized, oh my god, motorcycling is amazing. When you are traveling on a motorcycle, there's nothing like it, because you're not haggling with auto rickshaws, you're not waiting hours together for a bus to come, you're not waiting for Tatkal. Motorcycle is with you. You can just do whatever you want.
Welcome Sham and welcome Mauna. We've got Rucksack Diaries on stage. Come on, give them a round of applause everyone, and I'm going to let you guys take over.
So, exactly a year ago, we did a ride from Bangalore to Bhutan. We went via the East Coast, West Bengal, reached Bhutan, did a ride there, and came back via Central India. And one of our stops during this ride was in Patna, which is very close to my heart, because I took a solo trip a few years ago to Patna, and I had visited Bodh Gaya, and I felt very spiritually connected to Bodh Gaya. So I asked him, hey, it's a detour of only 3 hours. How about we go to Gaya? He never says no to me. So he said, yeah, of course, we can go. Why not? So we took a detour. We went to Gaya. We went to Bodh Gaya. The plan was to stay for an hour, but we ended up being 4-5 hours there. And to continue the ride, that day was around 6 hours, and we were supposed to reach Chhattisgarh. So we were crossing 3 states. So we were going from Patna to, from Bihar, we were going to Jharkhand, and then to Chhattisgarh that day. But it was a short ride. It was just 6 hours. Not much. So we thought, okay. So we left at 4 p.m., still calculating that, okay, by 10 or something we'll reach, which was good enough. Jharkhand is a beautiful state, by the way. They have lovely landscape, beautiful roads and stuff. So it started like that. Eventually, in half an hour, we entered into a forest area. Then the road became no road. Then it became off-road. And at one point, we were on top of a bridge, which didn't have another half left to get down. There was no bridge. It was like they forgot that they had to finish the bridge or something. There was no bridge. And at the bottom of the bridge, the so-called bridge, was a river stream going, and all of this in Google Maps is National Highway. So we didn't go off-road. This is National Highway, proper highway connecting Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. So after 3 hours, when we found a town somewhere, we stopped for snacks. A couple of guys started talking to us. And he said, where are you going? We never reveal our location live when someone asks us. We just randomly say a place. But we told him we're going towards Chhattisgarh. So he looks at us and says, are you sure you want to go now? Maybe you should stay here and go in the morning. So I looked at him, and our first thought is, oh my God, is the road worse than what we saw? And he says, nahi, road to theek hai, thoda Naxalites ka problem hai. And I'm sorry, that's a word we in South, right? We're from Bangalore, so we only hear it in TV and news channels. We don't know what that means. What do you mean by Naxalites? Then he said, nahi, matlab theek hi hoga, but anyway, be careful. So Sham looked at me and said, what do you want to do? He sort of trusts my vibe. So he's like, what do you want to do? I said, my pepper spray is confiscated in the airport, so all I have is a nail cutter with the cuticle cleaner open. That is the only weapon I have. If that's okay with you, let's continue the ride. So this is one of the small stories of how riding together, trusting each other, and believing that maybe this is something that we should do, should not do, goes, or of the 1,000 stories is like the one small story that I can share. But talking about motorcycles, right? It was not always about motorcycling. We've been traveling together for 11 years, but it was not always about motorcycling. Initially, it started off as a trekking thing where we thought, okay, we met. So to start with, where we met, right? We met in, you wanna share that? Because I've been speaking a lot and you're just standing.
Yeah, so we basically met when we were doing our MTech, and it's been 14 years now, right? We're both software engineers, full-time software engineers, and initially we started off as everybody does in colleges with a group, and I think after one, maybe half, or maybe the first hour of that first group trip, we knew
First
that
group trip,
that's
we
not
knew
happening.
group trip is not for us. That's not happening. So financially considering what we could do. At that time, we were working as into work integrated learning program. So we would work Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday, we would attend our master's classes. And we would not get a salary. For the first 2 years we worked, both of us didn't have a salary. We got something called stipend of 10,000 rupees. So keeping that in mind, we would plan our trips. And trekking is something in India which is very cheaply doable compared to flights and bikes and anything else you can afford. Trekking is very easily doable. So we started doing a lot of treks in and around in India. And one of the first treks we took was this place called Sandakphu. It borders Nepal and West Bengal. And throughout the trek, you can see Kanchenjunga range. And in the morning of the summit, that morning you can see the entire Everest range and you can see the sun rise from there. It's like a very beautiful thing. So that trip for us was can we be travel partners for a long-term check wala trek? It was
Decider
like, let's
trip.
check if we can do this long time. I think that was a successful trip. And talking about the treks we did, a lot of our fond memories come from the crazy adventures of trekking in India. And this is one such video where there's a lake, there's a frozen lake in Ladakh during December, Jan and Feb. This is Zanskar River in Ladakh. It freezes out completely and this trek is called Chadar Trek. You have to walk on ice for about 10-12 days to around 50 kilometers that you walk, 50-60 kilometers. So on the last day, once we completed the trek, I took a dip in that river and there are like ice chunks floating around. This was about 8-9 years ago, I think. And there's another, this is actually a place called Pin Parvati Pass, which is in Himachal. And what the tents are on is actually a glacier. And we were camping there before the summit. And this is one of our first picture we took together as travel partners. So after doing a lot of treks, we realized, okay, time to get into backpacking, traveling. So end of the day, the bottom line was we love traveling. The more, the mean didn't matter. It could be a train, it could be a sleeper train, it could be a motorcycle, it could be a bus, it could be anything. We just wanted to travel. That was the idea. But all that changed when we took this trip to Rajasthan. Rajasthan has a very heavy motorcycling culture. They are very big into renting out, and this was like 8 years ago. Not many states would rent out motorcycles, and Rajasthan was one such where they had e-commerce websites, they had apps where you can book and all that. So while planning, I thought, okay, we sort of earn well enough now, so maybe we can rent a motorcycle and do this trip instead of booking local buses. And then came in the first taste of motorcycling for us, where we realized, oh my God, motorcycling is amazing when you're doing it on, when you are traveling on a motorcycle, there's nothing like it, because you're not haggling with auto rickshaws, you're not waiting hours together for a bus to come, you're not waiting for Tatkal, you're none of that. Motorcycle is with you. You can just do whatever you want. And then came in the entire life-changing phase for us.
Yeah, and I was genuinely surprised because she's very particular with finances, and she chose that we would spend extra money to rent a motorcycle. So anyway, we got back home from the trip, and if we had to continue to do this, how would we do this? That was the question in our minds. And we had to basically evaluate our current motorcycle, the Pulsar AS200, the pseudo adventure that we had. And we were basically, we started doing one-day trips. So we took a trip to Lepakshi, and she was sitting pillion, and we were riding back. And I remember, I could, in my peripheral vision, I could see something hanging, something floating here. And it turns out, because of the posture, because of the vibrations, she had terrible knee pain, and she was just hanging. She was just basically giving it a rest. So that wasn't going to work, for sure, right? So the best process for us motorcyclists, that began. We consumed power drift, overdrive, autocar, you name it. We started consuming all of them. And the important thing was we put pen to paper and wrote down our requirements very, very explicitly. And it wasn't, it's not possible that it met all of them. But adventure, tourer, check, pillion comfort, very, very important. And most importantly, obviously, the budget. And with that, I think came home our first
That was
motorcycle
our
together.
first motorcycle. There was
The
a
Himalayan 411.
Himalayan 411. But he conveniently forgot that was my wedding gift to him. Conveniently forgot to
One
mention
sec.
that.
That's what she says. She
Okay.
paid the first EMI. That's
But
it.
it was a gift. You can't tell I didn't pay 12 months EMI. It was a gift. So after the motorcycle came home, the fun part was waiting for us, which is the gears. I'm pretty sure all of you have at least 20 pairs of gloves. That's one of the major fights we have. I'll keep looking at him. I'm like, why do you have so many gloves? There is actually a video on YouTube which starts that way. I bring in a whole bunch of gloves in my arms like that, and I come and throw it at him. I'm like, tell me, where are you using all of these gloves every time you go out? Why do you need so much? But it was always not like that, right? So initially, when we started planning our gears, the funniest thing is we could only afford a riding jacket. The helmet that I'm using there is actually his old helmet. We bought a new helmet for him, and we couldn't afford riding pants or boots. But we started with whatever we could, and we started riding on the Himalayan. The funny thing here, though, is we didn't need guards, right, for the legs. So he found Royal Enfield, what is that, Amazon Great Indian
It was a
Sale
package deal.
or something. Royal Enfield guards he found in package deal, which had both knee guard and elbow guard. But we had jackets, so we didn't need the elbow guard. So the one I'm wearing there is the elbow guard as my knee guard because it fit. You make best with what you have. You can't let your company not paying you stop you. So you find ways. And then came the next important part. That was the luggage.
Don't you want to tell them about the most important
Alright,
piece?
Of course. So one thing we definitely spent money on here is intercom. Intercom is something we definitely spend money on because this is something that a lot of people come to me, a lot of couple riders come to me and say, how do you stay awake? Because my wife always sleeps off behind me and they don't know how to fix that. I always tell them, I know it's a bit much because 5,000, I see somebody raising their hand. So I know it's a bit steep, 5,000, 6,000 rupees for a pair, but it really helps because you are connected on a ride, especially when you're riding together. You start to enjoy, you start to notice things and share it with each other, so you'll not be that bored. So you feel like you're also riding even if you're pillion. And the most important feature.
But the most important bit is that you can still mute each other. That's very
mute each
important.
other.
That's very, very important for a marriage. So,
Mute each other.
okay,
It's
so
the
gears are
extra.
done. The new motorcycles come home. So next we move on to the next obvious thing, which is luggage. And luggage is a very personal preference for solo tourers out there. You know, you can basically take a tail bag and you're good. And there are some of you crazy ones out there who will take 2 t-shirts for 3 months and come back. Salute. But we couldn't do that, right? So we were going to be 2 up on a single motorcycle. So our plan was to go with a saddle bag. And for quick access, we basically had a magnetic tank bag. So as a test bed for this new luggage setup, we basically, did a ride to Wayanad. It was a complete washout. It poured heavily, but we added the rain covers, all of that. And after reaching, we noticed that only on the right saddlebag, at the bottom, all the clothes were wet.
No, the clothes were wet from the bottom.
Just from the
not
bottom.
From
Yeah,
top,
just
which is
from the
weird,
bottom.
Because rain is not raining like this, so why is it wet, not wet on top?
So it turns out the exhaust had basically melted the bottom part of the saddlebags, those saddlebags right
It had
there.
touched the silencer and the bag had nice big hole in it. It was a big learning for us to put saddle stays, spend a little more and put saddle stays. We still have it on our Himalayan.
You're not probably going to get it right the first time anyway.
Yeah.
It is
It's
a
a
cycle,
process.
and sometimes you basically just have to go through the motion and constantly retrospect.
Yeah, we realized very early on that you can't be right or wrong. There's no success and failure. It is just something that you do. It's a process. You make mistakes, you learn, you get back on the saddle and you ride. The point is to keep riding. That's what it is. And now coming to the best thing that ever happened to us. So after we figured out bike, luggage, gears, all of that, we're like, okay, now it's time for a road trip. The place we chose was Spiti Valley in Himachal, and this was during peak lockdown. So we had work from home going on. We decided we'll take our bike. We did this road trip for about 2 months. It covered around 8,000 to 9,000 kilometers. We took permissions from managers and all of that, sorted that out. and we set out. So we took the NH44, went all the way to Manali, went into Chandratal, then Kaza, Tabo, Nako. Then we went to Kinnaur Valley. Kinnaur Valley also has Chitkul, which is one of the bordering villages, last Indian village, I think, towards Tibet border.
Indo-Tibet border.
Tibet border. And then we came back via the same route. I still remember Chandratal road back then was so broken and it was so bad. I can't tell you how bad it was. This guy had fever by riding just 100 kilometers, took 8 hours. That's how bad that road was. 100 kilometers took 8 hours. I can't even tell you. So after that, it became sort of a tradition where we do a lot more rides every year. We've done Bhutan ride. We recently came back from Sri Lanka. Before that, we did Ladakh multiple times. And the Spiti Valley and a lot more South India rides. But we decided that yearly once, we are going to ensure that in Jan, we apply leaves, we talk to our managers, we get a month off, 1.5 months. We can't get 1.5 months off, but we can at least get 2 weeks off and work from home and sort this out. So after doing, I think, 1+ lakh kilometers on our Himalayan that we bought together, we decided it was time for me. So one morning, I realized I have a lot of grey hair and I have been talking about doing this on my own, and I realized time is too short. Before I go full grey and silver, I need to do this. So I purchased my first bike and we went from Pati Patni Aur Wo to Hum Do Hamare Do, and that's the ride we do now. We recently did a 9K kilometers ride from Bangalore to Ladakh and back. So that's about it. A lot of learnings on the way. One thing definitely I would like to add here is it's not a race between you two. When you're riding together, it is important to find a common pace, because he rides a 650, I ride a 390. My skill is different, his skill is different. I'm a slow, secure rider. He can be a little hasty at sometimes when I'm not sitting behind. But the point is to find a common pace, right? And work with what you have. Don't try to aspire something that someone else is doing. Work with what you have.
See,
And,
understand that we both, we went from 2 up on one single motorcycle to 2 different motorcycles.
Yeah.
We are one unit, yes, but we were still doing our own ride,
Yes.
right? There was this one time, I remember, the first couple of times we started riding separately, I used to do a lot of rear view riding. I used to keep looking at the rear view mirror. Did she see that dog on the road? I have no idea, because I can't see her, but I can hear her. She's
I'm
happily
humming. I
humming
enjoy
along.
my ride. I don't worry too much.
Some song.
I'm singing all the time in my ride. I don't worry too much. I know he's the worrier, so I do the fun part. But yeah, there are some key takeaways for you guys that we've discussed. If you want to start riding with your partner, I would suggest you travel first, keep the motorcycling aspect aside, get in the motorcycle later once you're comfortable being together. Have your plans, be comfortable with your bike, try to do your own ride, and rest will follow. I think a lot of people worry about finances, but once you start figuring out how to just continue riding, these are things that you will eventually figure out. So
Yeah, and selecting a bike, that's important. Like you saw how we did our process. Selecting a bike that you're comfortable with and meets your requirements is far, far, far more important than something that's aspirational, looks funky, looks cool.
Yeah.
You'll realize its shortcomings very quickly, right? And with that motorcycle, do multiple one-day trips together to begin with, instead of going, immediately going 1,000, 2,000 kilometers. Do multi-day rides, and after you come back, go ahead, jot down all the pain points. And these pain points, trust me, this is literally how we've done it. We've been very methodical, but these pain points essentially, we've almost negated all of them right now,
Yeah.
right?
And
The humans are the only pain points right now.
there are a lot of memes about couple riders and husband-wife, I know, but the last point is very important. No one dictates the ride. Both of you have equal say. It's very important to understand that both of your needs are important on a ride, and you have to listen to each other. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely presentation. Thank you so much, Mauna and Shyam, for giving us couple goals literally while riding. But give them a round of applause, everyone. Come on, put your hands together. And we have someone who's going to be presenting a token of our appreciation on behalf of Gulf Sintrack. And thank you for being an inspiration to a lot of people here who want to start riding together. So thank you.